Houston Real Estate Radio.
Welcome back. You are listening to Houston Real Estate Radio, and I'm your host, Shannon Register, talking with you about real estate information you can use. If you have a question you'd like answered, you can call us anytime, and we'll answer your question on air. That number is 281-882-8088, and we answer the questions here on Sundays from 2 to 3 p.m., and today we're gonna continue our conversation with Rhondalynn Riley. She owns Exterior Inspections in the Houston area, and she goes all over Houston doing inspections, and we're glad to have her in the studio today. Welcome back.
Thank you.
We are, well, you know, whenever, as a realtor, whenever buyers are going to purchase a home, I always recommend that they have the home inspected. And you and I were talking a little bit earlier about how that is a general inspection, and then if there are any problems, foundation problems, any specific problems, then they should have someone specific to that industry or a more specific inspector come out. Is that correct?
That's correct. Professional real estate inspectors are generalists. So when a specialty item comes up, like a foundation problem or a mechanical or electrical problem, then the real estate inspector generally will refer that to a specialist, just like going to the doctor.
All right, and we're going to talk a little bit about stucco and water intrusion today. What exactly is stucco?
Well, stucco is a cement-based exterior siding. It is essentially put on in several different layers. You've got the plywood over the framing, and then you've got what we call a weather barrier or felt paper over the top of that. Then we have some reinforcing metal lath, and then inside that, or embedded in that metal lath rather, is 3 coats of cement-based stucco that's trowel applied.
It sounds pretty complicated. I would think that it's important to get it installed correctly.
Well, just like with any siding material, proper installation is paramount.
Do you recommend stucco homes?
You know, I do. I think that stucco is a fabulous product, and just like with anything else, if properly installed, it can function for the life of the property.
So it can last 20, 30, 50 years?
Yeah, absolutely. It can be sound and serviceable for the life of the property. And a lot of times, the only time you really need to paint it, unlike, say, siding, for example, is when you get really tired of the color.
Okay, well that's good because, you know, otherwise with wood you're repainting a lot. So
right.
That's good. When you're doing inspections, what are you looking for in stucco homes? What are some of the problems and issues that you find?
Well, a stucco inspection is basically 2-part if we're doing a full moisture analysis. And the first part is the visual portion. And the visual inspection, we are looking for how the system is installed, identifying properly the system. We're looking to see how the system's installed in relation to adjacent construction materials. For example, roof flashing or balcony flashing, or how's it installed in relation to floors and finished grade and sprinkler systems. To try to identify, number one, any deficiencies in the installation, as well as any situations or conditions that might be conducive to deleterious effects on the stucco or the structure.
What kind of maintenance do you have when you own a stucco home?
Well, the maintenance on a stucco home is going to be very similar, if not almost the same as any other home, whether it be brick or siding. The thing about an exterior of a home is that's the thing that protects it from the interior from the elements. Mm-hmm. So caulking, re-aiming the sprinkler head so you're not watering your house 3 times a week in the summertime. You know, just basic maintenance that you would perform on any home. I often tell clients that, you know, people will spend $3,000 a year to have the interior of their house cleaned on a weekly or monthly basis, right? But they won't spend $3,000 a year to make sure that the exterior of their house is properly maintained. And that's the thing that protects all those pretty interior finishes.
Sure, that's a good point. I know from my perspective as a realtor, I see the stucco on all the new Mediterranean homes that are being built around the Houston area, and sometimes we see them on contemporary architecture. So if you're looking for a home and you have the choice between a brick and mortar or a stucco home, it really is just what you like visually. They're all good products. The Hardy plank, you feel like they're all kind of on an equal playing field as far as being good exterior structures for the home?
I really do. I think it is just a matter of personal preference for the consumer.
Okay.
And the thing that consumers may want to look for, as well as the general inspector wants to look for, are things like, do you see cracks in the stucco? Do you see water stains? Do you see heavy foliage around the house? Those things can be indicative of maybe a problem with the installation or water intrusion.
If you've got stains on your stucco, should you be concerned? Because like you said, a lot of people water their house with the sprinklers. So if you see those stains on the stucco, should you be concerned that there could be water intrusion?
Generally what I tell people is expect algae growth on the north side of the house. And it's because the stucco has such a monolithic or homogeneous look to it. Algae growth is going to be a little bit more noticeable on stucco than it may be on brick. So generally, north-facing elevations are going to have a little bit of algae growth, and then there may be algae growth behind areas with heavy foliage. So surface staining isn't always a true indicator of water intrusion.
Okay. If you do have issues, damage to your stucco, is that a pretty easy fix? Is that what's involved in fixing it?
Well, it's all relative to what's causing that issue. If water intrusion is the issue, there can be problems as extensive as needing to remove stucco in order to repair framing if water intrusion has occurred and has occurred over a long period of time. So really and truly, the repairs for cracks can be as little as repainting a wall to as much as replacing the stucco on a wall, just depending on what the cause of the crack is.
When consumers have stucco homes, or even when they're going to purchase a stucco home and they're walking around looking at it and they see these visible cracks, is that alarming, or is that just settlement? Is that something to be concerned about when you see cracks in the stucco on the outside?
Well, what I tell people is that anything that has cement in it is probably going to crack at one point or another. It's kind of like if it hasn't cracked yesterday, it probably will crack at some point tomorrow because cement is brittle. So, I think the main thing is be conscientious as a homeowner and walk around your house occasionally. We live in such a society where people, they go to work, they come in, they drive into their garage, they shut the door, and you don't see them again until their car leaves the next morning. And so we just really don't get outside and walk around our house and see what's going on. And I think it's important not only with the stucco house, but any house.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Most homeowners just don't worry about the outside. Just figure it's there, it's taking care of itself, and don't worry about it as long as the lawn gets cut.
I was going to say, as long as the lawn guy comes every other Thursday or whatever the case may be, that's about the extent of it.
Right, and then, if the gutters get clogged, you may have somebody come out and clean the gutters. But other than that, you're not looking at, the walls of the exterior of the house and inspecting it. So.
That is true.
So if someone needs to get a stucco inspection, if they've had a general inspector come out and he does find some issues that he's concerned about, and they want to get a stucco inspection, there's only a few of you in the Houston area, is that right?
That is true. There's not very many of us. So especially in busy times, like we are currently having, which is fabulous. I'm so excited that real estate market has picked up tremendously in Houston. There's a little bit of a wait because there are only a few of us. But I think that if, a general inspector has recommended a stucco inspection, it is well worth the wait to have it done, just to make sure that you're not purchasing someone else's problem.
Can it be a mold problem when there's stucco issues?
Well, anytime you have water, and a food source, which would be cellulose, and I'm not a mold licensed person, but certainly that mold could be an issue.
Okay. And if you need a specific stucco inspection, what kind of price range are we talking about?
Well, again, pricing depends on the size of the structure, but they generally start at about $500.
Oh, wow. Okay, so they're pricey, but they're going to take care of you in the long run because, like you said, it's a product that's going to last as long as the house lasts, so you definitely want to make sure it was done correctly and is going to last.
That's correct.
All right, so what about interior damage? Anything you want to say about interior homes that are built with stucco? Any problems they may have?
Well, as you're going around the house, you just look for swollen baseboards, look for deteriorated window sills, anything, that would be indicative of moisture in the house on the exterior walls.
Okay, fantastic. Great information today from Rhondalynn Riley with Exterior Inspections. Tell us how we can reach you.
You can reach me at 281-353-8686.
Fantastic. Great information today on stucco specifically, but also with any new home construction. You always want to have that inspection done. And Rhondalynn, it's great to have you on the show. Thanks for coming, and we'll be right back with Houston Real Estate Radio.